and I commend you for all the work that you've done, and I support the initiative that you're promoting here. But I have two questions. One is that 30-minute homeroom time discretionary? My son's going to be a senior. Can he skip that? Can he sleep in? Or?
No. It's in the middle of the day, so no, we can't do that. That'd be a bad thing. But it's not discretionary. That's academic time.
Okay.
That is not that's not study hall time. Teachers are going to be working with their students, either small groups or large groups, to rework the material that's already been presented, or to do an enrichment activity that deals with the material that they've already dealt with.
Okay, well, he's a charming young man, and we love him to death, but he's not particularly motivated. You know, Theo, you know what I'm talking about. How is he going to be grasped? Are teachers going to reach out to pull him in?
He's going to have, it's going to be on his schedule already. It's part of how his grades determined. So it's not this free-for-all kind of I can do what I want to. It is part of your academic class. So if you have Sarah Paquette for your English class on A days, fourth block, on Thursday every other week you have Sarah Paquette for another 30 minutes. That's not if you want to, not if you like her. That's a have to. And everyone likes her. Oops, one more question.
And my second point is, and this is no reflection on you, Dixie, at all, but I had attended the process for moving to the trimester, and I want to say to anyone who was involved in that back then that I'm ashamed to be associated with them because they promoted this, and those of you who were part of it know who you are, promoted it with unequivocal support and made it out to be God's answer to whatever was ailing Hillsboro-Deering High School. And now we've waffled and we're doing something else. And like I said, no reflection on you, but the people who were involved, I want to say shame on you for changing the color of your hat.
Well, let me step in there for a minute, because that's kind of, I understand your frustration. I know, but I understand, I want to, because I understand your frustration. You know, it's the 9th hour, here's this new chick coming in, changing stuff. It's the reality. I know, but here's the thing. The person who envisioned it is no longer here. And
but his supporters are here, and they know who they are, and, you know, they've got egg on their face.
In response to that, I just have to speak, because I was on the committee, and I sat at school one morning, I said, hey, we can do the trimester, it can work. When I was on that committee, that was the charge of the committee. The board agreed, this is what we're going with. So at that time, we said, okay, this is what we have. It doesn't make sense to sit here and complain about it, because it's not going to do us any good. We need to find a way to make it work. Obviously now, things have changed. I didn't know all the things that are causing problems. No one on the committee did, because we're not all administration and or guidance counselors. But at that time, we took it, we embraced it, we said this is what we need to do, we're going to find a way to work with it. Now that's not the case, unfortunately, so that's it.
Well, we were told as a community, and no reflection on Donna, but I don't ever recall seeing a survey. But that said, we were told that the trimester was the next best thing to sliced bread, despite significant and limited opposition from people who know about things like that. And we still went forward with it. I guess my question is, couldn't it have been foreseen that these problems would arise? They are significant problems. The community has spent an inordinate amount of time trying to make this work to no avail. And by the way, well, we're glad to have you.
Let me
here! It seems to me that this is just,
I think
we had a waste of time to begin with. Here we are at the last minute, looking at this apparently better alternative, and it sounds better on the face of it. So,
I think that there are lots of things that you can address in the past. The reality is I believe that the people who work on the trimester work on it in good faith.
oh, I have no doubt.
And that really and truly, until the pieces hits the fan, you don't really realize it's not going to work. And when you have a young administrative staff, which we did, that weren't experienced in scheduling, it's very easy not to see some of these little things that went wrong. they turned into big things. So, you know, I would rather we move.
One of the things that I want to interject is that when we arrived, this wasn't about, and I said, we need to be very, very careful in making sure that we're respecting the work that was done before, what was learned from this, and what were some of the reasons behind it. Did we cover all the reasons? No. But some of the, many of the reasons that even brought up the idea of, you know, should there be a schedule change, those are still valid and still there. So this schedule, I see, does respect the work that committees have done before. It does respect some of the reasons the previous superintendent had and looking at a different schedule. Unfortunately, the person that had the expertise wasn't here to bring it forward and put it into implementation. So I had said to Dixie, we are not throwing anyone under the bus. We're going to take what we have, we're going to look at that information, and we're going to focus on what is the right thing to do for kids as we go forward. I also said that, and I echo your comments, that whatever we do, we have to stick with it for a while. We have to evaluate it, maybe tweak it, maybe make some modifications, but there should be a learning experience. You know, educators are lifelong learners as well, so we need to be paying attention to how are students doing. I have a particular concern about making sure that a population of students that find sometimes changes in schedules to be difficult, students that have special education services, that we're providing safety nets and support for them, because this is going to be a little bit more complicated, a little bit different than what they're used to. So are there some areas that we're going to have to look at in implementation if the board decides to support this recommendation? Absolutely. But it has to be a partnership. And nothing really works well if there's struggles between the professional staff, with the parent community, with students. Some of the kids were talking about, when I looked at some of the research, the classes were too long. But then when I talked to some of the kids about, well, tell me why they're too long, you know, they had other reasons why they thought that they were too long. So when you really start to get into layers, it definitely would make sense to make some kind of a change. And I think this will be in partnership if we go forward with the professional staff and with the community. We need to give support to the kids, by the way. That is the forefront of this whole thing, making sure that they get the support to feel comfortable in an implementation of the schedule. And so it's great parents are here, and I thank you for coming. We need to make sure that there's some assemblies, there's some discussions to make kids feel like, okay, will this work? There are advantages to block schedule. I came from a district that had block schedule. There are advantages to AB. There are advantages to modified block. The bottom line is, it's about the quality of instruction. It's about what's happening in the classroom, and then how you use that time. So I think this is an opportunity to sort of bundle together a number of different concerns for the benefit of all our students. So I would prefer, you know, if we're moving forward, this is what we have, this is a recommendation, but I do appreciate and feel the real frustration. That doesn't go away, that's real.
I had a question about that.